Get ready for complete speculation, untruth and absolutely no way shitstorm a actual non-clickbait video. Hello ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games, it's launch day, it's Ark Survival Evolved, everything is happening guys. And this is one of the biggest mysteries that has come out in Ark for a long time. So this countdown was revealed, you probably all know this by now, in the actual official launch trailer for Ark Survival Evolved. There was a QR code and everyone scanned it and it brought us to this on the forum site. It currently says it's running out in 4 days, 5 hours, 24 minutes and 13 seconds. So that is officially the 1st September, it's going to be a couple days after, 3 days after the actual official launch of the game. So I've been listening, I've been watching, I've been taking notice of everything that everyone said. Of course I've had my own opinions on it. What is this related to? What does it mean? Well, I'm pretty sure it's DLC. If we zoom right in, you can see alongside the actual blue lights there seems to be some sort of bush or algae or something. Many people think it's underwater, some people think it's in space. To be honest, we just don't know. But what I am going to do is list the facts that I do know regarding exactly what they've said in the past. So, your one-stop shop for speculation, gossip and a few facts about what this will actually mean, what kind of DLC, if it is DLC, it is. It was the Community Crunch 46 way back when in May 2016 last year. Survivor It's Red Mark asked, it would be awesome if in the ocean there was a sunken obelisk covered in kelp, the tip pointing out the surface with a podium to summon an ocean boss. Now, Jeremy didn't actually confirm any of this would actually happen. He just simply said, aye captain, that would certainly be awesome. According to some Reddit posts, testers have said that it is part of the water DLC in the future, to complete the obelisk colour triangle. Now when you think about all the dinosaurs that are in Ark Survival Evolved, lots of them are water creatures. And to be fair, not a lot of them get used. Even with the ability to implement tech bases underwater, I can't say I've seen one single video of someone actually raiding someone underwater. So according to this little comment here, it says that the green on the actual obelisk is meant to represent the island, red is scorched earth and blue to be named later. However, that theory then shits on the fact that there is meant to be 2 DLCs being brought out. And when I say DLC, I do mean paid DLC. So that in fact it would actually be 3 paid DLCs in total. Scorched Earth, 1 coming this year and 1 coming next year. So I don't necessarily think that actually holds true. And to be honest, I think the idea of an underwater Ark is just pretty shit. When you think about all the items that you could not use in water and it would just become a bit stupid, I can't really see it being underwater. Someone did mock up this picture here and you can see exactly where the lights show up. It's pretty much on these little spots. The only other thing that lends itself to saying this is underwater is the fact that the light is coming through very fractured. And really the only other thing that might lend itself to actually being water DLC is the fact that the tech transmitter is a way to actually transfer your dinos underwater. People have been saying it's algae that's underneath there, but when you look, none of it is actually moving, or it doesn't look like it's moving. To me it looks more like moss or ivy growing on it, rather than actual, you know, proper underwater algae. These actual spectral lights as well, they seem like they are electricity flowing through the actual Ark, and it's pretty much the actual graphic. However, it does look a little bit reminiscent of the DNA strands as well. So, we've gone through the water theory. Is it water? Is it a water DLC? Now something a little bit further out of reach maybe is the possibility of it being steampunk DLC. I personally can't see this being actual paid DLC, obviously it's part of the sponsored mod program at the moment, and so the sponsored mods are meant to be free. And as great as this is, I still can't be hyped up enough as actual being a countdown timer and all that effort of putting it in the trailer and setting up another website just for a sponsored mod. But there has been some excitement about the fact that steampunk looks like it might be the next mod that comes to the sponsored mod program as an official mod. It's currently already in there and the creator has been busy away, even releasing a trailer for its latest update. However, there is one more tiny piece you might need to know about. The creator has been making tutorials on how to do certain things, and you can see he's made a tutorial on how to make a hologram. Now you can see this hologram is exactly the same image or picture from the trailer for the official trailer for the game. And so to me it just means that obviously a modder has gone into the Ark dev files and managed to pull out something and work on it himself. But it is really interesting, it's really cool. But again, I'm going to shoot down the fact that it's going to be some sort of sponsored mod. I don't think they'll be stupid enough to really release another sponsored mod. They've already got Ragnarok coming, the full game is there as well. I think it would be stupid, really stupid, to release something that takes away the spotlight from them two things, unless of course it's paid DLC. Now Wildcard have released official DLC and paid DLC at the same time before. Last year, Scorched Earth official release was the 1st September, and they did release Primitive Plus at the same time, which meant Primitive Plus pretty much got forgotten about, which was probably a good thing because it was broken as heck. There's no doubt about it. When Scorched Earth trailer hit, I was blown away. I can't remember, there's like maybe 4 or 5 times I've been absolutely blown away by something in Ark Survival Evolved in the last 20 months. And certainly Scorched Earth DLC was one of them. I was really disappointed it was paid for DLC, and the fact that the DLC was coming out before the game even actually fully launched. And once you delved into everything that happened and why that was, well, that's for another time. We'll be here all year. But it certainly had lots of interesting ideas with the wyverns, the trenches. It really lightened up and gave a bit more energy back into the game after yet again another full delay on the official game. So that's another reason why people think it is DLC, because of the actual timing of it. 1st September, 1 year exactly after that one. Also into that is the actual confirmed plans of Wildcard was to release the game and release Scorched Earth as part of the DLC with it. Of course they had problems, they had issues, and so they had to release the DLC early to make up some money so they could continue development of Ark Survival Evolved. That is what they've stated in the past, that was the reason why. They also said they wanted to make sure that the compatibility with DLCs would work with Ark, so that in the future any more DLC they'd be able to just slot in and it would work seamlessly with the rest of the game. So that plan was all good, but they had to change it, and as you can tell, and I've said this many times before, when a game leaves early access for most open world games, it needs something to draw back in all the old players. Over the course of a 2-year development, lots of them players are going to be leaving and moving on to different things, or feel like they've seen everything there is to see in the base game. So Wildcard have been really clever, really smart business wise in releasing the modded program, and particularly getting some of it, even no matter how many delays there are with it or how many problems there are with it, onto console. But that business plan is still part of what they really believe in. They're releasing the game on the 29th of August, they need something to draw people back in. Ragnarok has certainly done that, but I don't think that's necessarily enough for most people. Particularly PC players who have had actually access and seen Ragnarok develop over the last 6 months. So more DLC, paid DLC seems like the way to go. And despite whatever criticisms they faced about releasing the actual DLC, it was the #1 top selling game on Steam when it launched. Now back in July there was an article that PC Gamer put out where quite frankly they couldn't even recognise the actual proper name of the person they were interviewing. They mixed it up and put Jesse Stieglitz. So there was some confusion about what this post meant. Was it about paid mods? Was it about actual DLC? Clearly in the title it was about a sponsored mod program. Stieglitz suggests that the community sponsored maps will get better from here on out, and that the Ragnarok team are among the best level designs he's seen. Development of Ragnarok will continue till completion, and Wildcard plan to launch at least one more official DLC this year, with Stieglitz hopeful of a second. So that is why I done a video saying that you shouldn't get too hyped up about mods coming to console. Although the sponsored mod program's got over 15-16 mods in its actual program, from that interview and from the way he's talking about it, it does suggest that they weren't necessarily prioritising it so that they could actually convert them all ready for Xbox or PS4. And you can clearly see he says he hopes to get another one out in addition to Ragnarok, which I think is still going to be the steampunk mod, and hopefully next year they'll be able to release a lot more. But that doesn't answer the question what we're looking at right now, does it? In questions regarding their DLC content plans, when they was at E3, they did say they were looking to release DLC around October time, and that the next second DLC will be available at some point next year. So this may only be an announcement, it may not be the full launch. But Ark do like to surprise us, and they did mostly stealthily announce Scorched Earth as a DLC without hardly anyone knowing about it. That is apart from me, who actually revealed the DLC was coming a week beforehand. So, is it DLC? Is it going to be just an announcement? I'm starting to think it might just be an announcement. I think their plans for releasing it in October are still going to be the same, I can't see any real benefit to releasing it now alongside Ragnarok DLC at the same time. Of course, one is free and one is paid, and it might be a way of keeping people on side and excited for the game's launch to give people more of what they want. And the way that Scorched Earth is part of their season pass, yet it came out months and months and months ago, and yet the way that Scorched Earth is part of its season pass and it came out a year ago, it does seem a bit odd for people to be buying a season pass that content has already been out for. So by having DLC ready to go at launch, that would make more sense. I asked you guys to let me know what you thought the actual countdown was. Let's go through some of the best answers. So according to my comment section, it's a countdown for the next Fly on Earth. Maybe not that harsh. A lot of people are agreeing with me it's going to be some sort of announcement or stealth launch of the DLC. Gamersource seems to still think the DLC concept will be underwater. And Wickles IDEX says there's a lot of water stuff in the actual launch trailer, and it looks like the aliens were messing with the Dunklo DNA. That could be a very good point. I still really can't see that happening though. I don't think the water presents enough of a game mode at the moment. Juicy Bear says it looks like the countdown looks like it's really broken, like it's malfunctioning. Maybe it's a broken obelisk that was tested by aliens or something. So yeah, the space option could be true. If you delve back far enough, when you think about the space mod, if you know the sponsored mods, there was an actual moon mod on it. Now the moon mod was in development a long time ago. In fact, it was one of the first mods I took a look at when I got a PC. But it was just pretty boring. There were some unique creatures in it, and obviously that must have come from the actual dev files rather than the modder, and there were some unique pieces and bits and bobs. This excerpt from an interview a while ago was, content updates for Ark will continue indefinitely in the form of regular free updates to the base game, and in more experimental doses for the occasional paid for expansion packs. In the same vein as Scorched Earth, Studio Wildcard wasn't ready to talk details on exactly what those DLC additions might entail, but Stieglitz caved and gave me one hint. One of them will definitely involve horror, he says, name dropping Ridley Scott's Alien as inspiration. I can't wait to craft a plug for the gaping hole in my chest. And that is when he spoke about the actual tech underwater bases being able to be used for future DLC. But how would it really work? How are you going to survive in space? I don't think it could possibly be just space unless it's like a huge massive space station. It would have to be some sort of planet that has a lack of oxygen at some points. Maybe it would be something like Scorched Earth where the weather systems come in. Maybe you would have to actually, make sure you've got a decent oxygen supply at certain times of the day. A new theory which I hadn't actually thought about before was they actually removed the moon mod from the sponsored mod program. Now the moon mod seemed to be progressing much slower than some of the other mods. The developers were actually making their own custom players. So the players wouldn't be the same player character creation that you're used to, they would actually be brand new models. And that seemed to be taking up a massive bulk of time. As you can see from the latest list of sponsored mobs, it's not longer in here. I reported this a few weeks ago, alongside some other maps that have been taken off the program. Now said the actual curator, he's the one that helps decide what goes on with the sponsored mod program, he had actually really liked the look of the moon mod. So it did seem a bit weird that they took it off. It seemed one of the most ambitious, and I just assumed it was too ambitious or work wasn't progressing enough on it. But maybe they took it off because it was such a good idea they wanted to make it into DLC. Or possibly maybe it was getting too close to their plans for DLC. So we've gone through what I think are the three major possibilities. Underwater DLC, some sort of space DLC, or possibly an outside chance that it is actually the steampunk. Now out of them three, I'm not too sure it's any of them. When I look at this image, I do see like it's underwater, but I do see these images of the lights glowing and flashing, and I can't see it being in space because of the actual vegetation that's growing on the letter. Now you can only read so much into something before you start making up stuff that isn't necessarily there, and of course it is only a countdown timer. All will be revealed on the 1st September, and as ever I'll be the first person to let you know exactly what it is. Is it even DLC? Could it be something completely different? Is it just a notification of the boss? Is it a future update just being added to the base game? Maybe they will be adding that underwater sunken obelisk just as a ruins. Let me know in the comment section definitively what you think the actual countdown leads to. Until then, this has been JADEPG, a healthy dose of speculation and thinking about what it possibly could be coming on the 1st September. Remember to go and check out all my other videos for Ark Survival Evolved, and I'll see you ratbags later.